Welcome back to Sunrise. Thanks for choosing to stay with us.
Yeah.
Thanks for choosing Sunrise. Now we're headed to France to talk work, travel, and cultural exchange with 22-year-old Ananda Esquire. She's part of the teaching assistance program in France, TAPIF, and since September of last year, she's been giving French students a taste of Jamaica, one lesson at a time. Ananda has even stepped up as an ambassador, encouraging other Jamaicans to take the leap, and she zooms in this morning to tell us more. Ananda!
Bonjour!
Bonjour!
Comment ça va?
Ça va et vous?
Yeah, très bien,
Je
merci.
suis très bien. And all right, so well, tell us a little bit about yourself and your life here in Jamaica before you decided to take the leap all across the pond to Europe.
To Europe. Well, I am a recent graduate of the University of the West Indies, where I studied political science and international relations. I've always loved French, and I found out about this program actually in high school and kind of set my sights on it since then and just kind of put in the work and tried to get to meet the minimum requirements where I was able to actually apply, and here I am in Europe.
So were you speaking French fluently before? Which high school did you attend?
I went to Arden High School.
Nice.
Yeah.
And so you did French at high school?
Yes.
At the high school
Yes, I did. I did.
So
all the way up to the level.
All the way up to Cape. Okay, great.
But I'm looking at you, Ananda, at 22 years old. And Dennis and I were just talking, like, at 22 years old, I was not thinking to get up, leave my house, leave my mother, leave all that, my country, with which I'm familiar, to go across the world to somewhere new. What was the inspiration and why did you choose France? Because, I mean, there are many French-speaking countries. Why France?
Why France? Why not France? I think France is amazing. It's filled with culture. I love the lust that they have for life here and just the focus that they put on just pursuing your hobbies, having a personal life outside of work. And then there's the food, there's the music, there's the arts. France is just a romantic country in all its glory, and I really wanted to explore that.
Nice.
First of all, before we get into some of the other nuances, tell me a little bit about the differences in the French that you would have learned in school versus the French that you're dropped into the actual country. You're immersed in the French. You're not in Paris. You're outside of, you're outside of Marseille or Bordeaux?
Bordeaux.
Also, okay,
nice.
outside of Bordeaux. But tell us about the actual French that you're now having to speak there.
I must say it is nothing like what we learned in school.
Not Duolingo.
You learn in school to say comme ci, comme ça, terms like that. The French do not say that.
Oh, wow.
Nobody says that.
Yeah.
And I think also one of my biggest challenges with the language has been just like hearing or understanding the accent, because practicing French in Jamaica with my friends is much different from hearing a native speak to you very rapidly French.
Yeah. So talk to me a little bit now about, just making the transition there now, Ananda. So you're born in Jamaica, you live in Jamaica, you're now in France. What from Jamaica have you taken there to kind of help you acclimatize and just to live there as a Jamaican in France?
Well, I mean, everything. I'm a true patriot for my country, I think. And I think even just like you mentioned earlier, just how terrifying it is as a young person to just up and leave and there's no family here. One of the things that I really try to do is to maintain some of the traditions that I grew up with. So every Sunday morning, my mother would get up and she play her music and she cook Sunday dinner and she cleans and all of these things. So, I still try to do that. I turn on some Bob Marley, some Barry Hammond, and, just vibe. Also just sharing my culture with others. My host family here, I make dinner for them, some red pea soup or some rice and peas and some curry chicken, and they love it. And just being able to share my culture in that way makes me feel like I'm a part of something bigger than myself. And yeah, there's a lot of comfort in that.
Nice.
And you mentioned minimum requirements earlier in the conversation. You mentioned a host family. There's a clear structure in the program. Tell us a little bit about the program, and because you've kind of become a de facto ambassador, putting your IR and political science
Yes,
to good
yes.
use. But you've become an ambassador for the program and getting young people in Jamaica to join.
Right. So the eligibility requirements are for you to be a native speaker in English. You have to be a national of Jamaica or the Bahamas, or have done most of your schooling, so secondary and tertiary schooling in either country, Jamaica or Bahamas. You also have to have a B1 level in French, speak a B1 at least a B1 level in French. And also be between the ages of 20 and 35.
Nice.
So it's a young people thing.
Yeah.
And so you're working in schools. You're assisting with students learning English.
Right. So for me personally, it's different for every assistant. We each get placed in different academies, which is kind of like regions. So either Bordeaux, Paris, Lyon, Nice, Nantes, all over the place. And you can either teach at the primary or the secondary level. For me, I teach at the primary level. So I'm teaching from 6th grade, from 6-year-olds to I think 10 or 11. And essentially, my job is to just make English interesting to them and give them somebody that they can actually practice the language with.
Nice.
So they're learning all of this vocabulary. What now do you do with it?
Nice.
And hearing an authentic accent and getting to understand that accent.
Finally, Ananda, is there a large contingent of Jamaicans over there? And for a young lady or a young man watching you this morning, and they want to apply as well to be a part of TAPIF, yeah? What would be your word of encouragement to them?
I would say go into it with an open mind. You never know. I think one of the biggest things I learned coming here is that don't be afraid to do anything. You never know how you will shock yourself or surprise yourself. And like when things come at you, you can figure it out, you know? Also, I'm sorry, repeat the first part of the question.
Jamaican contingent, a lot of Jamaicans over there?
Right, so there aren't a lot, no, and which is why we're trying to get more people interested. I think, and I'm not quite sure of the number, but it was just a handful of us that came in my batch. So we really want a lot more people to come this year. It's 4,000 assistants from all over the world, not just teaching English, but teaching Mandarin, teaching Spanish, teaching Portuguese. And so you're not just learning about French culture, you're also learning about other cultures by interacting with other assistants. So the opportunities are endless, you know? Just, you never know who you will meet, what opportunity it may open for you just by being here and meeting all of these people and learning about just the, you know, other cultures and getting a more holistic view of life and other realities. So yeah, I think it's the perfect program for somebody who is an adventurer and has an open mind.
Lovely. Well, thank you for opening your mind, and thank you for talking to us this morning. And let me say good morning as well to French Ambassador Olivier Guillaume-Vort. Yes, good morning, sir. How are you? Thank you so very much for these kinds of opportunities. And Dennis, you know, when you look at Ananda, you know that other young people can do it too.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So thank you, Ananda. We wish you all the best, continued success, and au revoir. our guest this morning, Ananda Esquire, giving us a peek into the life as a language assistant in France.
Yeah.
Yes. And up next, we have Carlton, who is back with to continue the
Part
part two of cryptocurrency. It's Money Masterclass, brought to you by
Guardian Life.
Looking After Life. Be sure to stay with us. We'll be right back.